We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
It's time to buckle up for making sense of the madness.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and we've been talking a lot about artificial intelligence, weapon systems, weapons in space, and today, while I was kind of going through all of that information and anticipating Bilderberg coming up, I thought to myself, why am I not showing some of the weapon systems that have already been utilized, some reactions from those creating those weapon systems, and some talks by those, mainly Alex Karp and Peter Thiel. And really, I should be saying Peter Thiel and Alex Karp, because Karp is very much a disciple, if you will, of Thiel. Thiel is the daddy pants when it comes to, I would say, managing these highly automated systems of command, control, death, and destruction. And I'm not just talking about Palantir. You talk about, now obviously death and destruction, not going to be involved with every transaction. Even with Palantir, we're going to show you their website. There's a ton of commercial tools that are out there. But at the end of the day, we need to be looking at systems like Lavender. We need to be looking at automated weapon systems, drones and otherwise. We need to be talking about the sharpshooter program that they were utilizing in Gaza prior to October 7th at these checkpoints where, hey, it's not even a human being anymore, and supposedly it's less lethal weaponry, right? They're not full-on bullets at that point. Who knows what's going on now? But they choose an enemy and they take it out. No human involved. No human necessary. And more and more and more and more and more, we're seeing this, okay? So I kind of wanted to show you not only the types of weapons being used in Israel, in Ukraine, by Russia, but at the end of all these videos, it's going to be Alex Karp recently in the Middle East talking about weapon systems and artificial intelligence. And Karp has not only been brought along to be the face and the mouthpiece of Palantir, but he's also a Bilderberger. He's been brought in the last several years, becoming a mainstay there. Maybe even half a decade now, maybe even more. I don't know that it's more than half a decade. I guess you'd have to kind of question because of those two Bilderberg meetings that did not take place, at least in person, via the COVID-1984 nightmare, okay? So, We're going to talk about some of these news stories. I need you to thumbs it up, subscribe, share, check out the alt platforms. If you were watching yesterday live on YouTube, I mean, it wasn't a ton, but we had about 100 or so watching on the live stream, and we got pulled. And we got pulled from copyright. I'm pretty sure it had nothing to do with the RoboCop stuff, but instead, because we were critiquing 60 Minutes coverage of these AI weapons systems in their puff piece, you're not allowed to do that. Not allowed to do that. I got an email. It didn't specify it was that. I had to take it down. You can watch that show in its entirety on Patriot.tv, on the Patriot.tv Rumble, on my alt accounts where we continue to live stream, aka X, where I hope you're going to give me a follow, and over on Rumble and Rockfin. So not only can't we make money here on YouTube, God forbid we could critique the mainstream media when they are, softballing AI weapon systems and blatantly lying about certain things. Just putting that out there. Okay? I know I'll get fact-checked till the day is long. I mean, you ask AI about Jason Bermas, he's a bad mamma jamma, peddles in conspiracy theories. Anyway, folks, right now, cannot do it without you. Please consider donating at the Buy Me Coffee link down below. $5, $10, $15 big donors. We've also got the evil Peter Thiel, Elon Musk PayPal link down below. And, of course, some crypto addresses to hit as well. Oh, it looks like I took down the X. We'll do it right now. We'll do it live. X.com. Boom. Give me a follow on X.com/Jason Bermas. That's where you get a lot of the raw stories, even stuff I don't cover. See, we're live over there as well. Dr. Naomi Wolf, the full AI weapons was RoboCop spot on video from yesterday that was taken down. Let's see. And you can even see me checking out the Quad Cities. Okay? Yes, and that is where I live. Love the Quad Cities. Let's get into it. Bilderberg, just around the corner. It may be this weekend. I've got to get a hold of Charlie Skelton, maybe the weekend after that. But, like I said, Peter Thiel, a lot of other big players, obviously. David Petraeus is there all the time. Who else can we talk about? I mean, representatives from every big tech company, from Microsoft to Google, go down the line. You've got a ton of media there, foreign press, in other words, European press, of course, American press, all the banking industries, Goldman Sachs, you name it, down the line. They're all going to be there. Jens Stoltenberg, former head of NATO, is now a steering member. Okay? So much going on, and people really need to pay attention. Now, like I said, Palantir, you go to their website. They are hooked in. Go beyond chat. All sorts of software, enterprise autonomy. So, they're heavily involved in commercializing AI as well in a multitude of regions. But when we're really talking about global defense funds, okay, and global alliances. Let me see right now. Let's continue on. Lavender. And we're gonna actually talk about Peter Thiel and Lavender as he was put on the spot. Lavender AI. This is where we start getting into it, okay? An AI system decides who the terrorists are, and then they just kill you in your home. Now, I get it. There's a lot of people that don't think it can come here or think all the Muslims are bad. You can't have automated systems built on criteria that we don't even know about killing people. Let me put it into perspective here in the United States for you. How many people became domestic extremists or outright quote-unquote terrorists? Okay? So again, domestic extremists or outright terrorists, according to the U.S. government. That's without AI systems. Now, what if all of a sudden that criteria lets them bomb your home? I mean, we're not playing around here. And then, of course, you have the automated devices that blew up in civilian areas. I cannot emphasize enough how dangerous that is. Imagine one day you're carrying your magic device and it's in your pocket and your 4 or 5-year-old's right next to you saying, Daddy, Mommy, I need something. And then that blows up in their face. Now, I'm going to say this really clear. Even if you think that every single one of those people that had pagers, apparently, that had been intercepted by the IDF, were bad hombres or terrorists, they killed, maimed, and hurt civilians who surrounded them on top of that. That is a war crime. Full stop. And I don't understand how people do not get how dangerous that is. I don't want to hear the gloves are off and war is messy. All those things are true. This is an in-your-face terrorist attack by definition that killed and maimed civilians outside of the people they targeted. Real simple. Real simple. So I'm going to pull it back. We're going to play some videos. We're going to show you some of the autonomous weapons. We're going to start with Israel. We're going to start with just some of the gun systems in Israel and then into the sharpshooter program. Then we are going to move into Ukraine, Starlink, Russia. And then we're going to show you Peter Thiel's reaction to being questioned about AI death and lavender. Okay? And then we're going to roll it into a ball with Alex Karp. Okay? And his discussion recently in the Middle East on AI weapons. Give it a thumbs up, a subscribe, share. Thanks, and here we go.
A military vehicle approaching. On the roof, the new autonomous smash hopper firing system. The car is armored and equipped by Palantir. The objective? To aim and shoot without being seen.
We took the capabilities of the SMASH, this advanced vision system that allows precision shots from the first bullet against static or moving targets, including drones, and we have it placed in the remote-controlled firing system.
A system can be placed on traditional military vehicles, autonomous cars, armored personal carriers, even robots, with one specific objective in mind: to remove soldiers from friction points whilst achieving the same operational result, even with moving targets. In fact, this is how it works. In the era of all technology, it looks rather easy to use.
I block a target with a single click. I lift the safety catch, and I shoot. I have hit my target. I'm looking for another target, shooting. A third target, shooting. It's that simple. But above all, precise.
This is exactly the kind of autonomous weapon system that can be used by any soldiers in the southern border and facing the Gaza Strip, and in the north facing Lebanon and Syria.
So let me just stop right here. Now again, these ones are not fully autonomous. However, you notice that they said they could be mounted to robots. All right? And you saw how all of a sudden that woman became a sharpshooter from a distance that's unimaginable real quick.
These systems are first tested in a controlled environment for hours and from each possible angle.
The world is no longer prepared to accept firepower that does not differentiate the target from collateral damage. Precision shots take a central place in all so-called modern battlefields. This is what we offer, reducing production cost budgets and changing the military doctrine of modern combat.
של הלחימה המודרנית.
We always strive to adapt our technologies to give the maximum value of the products we deliver in our customers. Where the need is essential, first and foremost, border protection.
Last summer, the IDF Chief of Staff, Aviv Kochavi, presented the so-called SMART and Leather Border project around the Gaza Strip. On the agenda, new operational, technological, and intelligence capabilities.
And again, we're going to get to those capabilities. This is all pre-October 7th. So this shows you, that, again, these weapons aren't new. They're slowly being worked into the milieu. And I wouldn't even say slowly, kind of rapidly, but we're just so ignorant in the United States as to these weapon systems, what they're capable of, where they're being deployed, and what that could mean for us in the near future. Okay, so here's the sharpshooter program right here. All right, so, you know, there it is right there on the top. It's an automatic, automated weapon. Again, ready to shoot you. There it is at all times. So there's no human being. There's a kid playing by it. Again, this is all pre-October 7th. And there it is. Yeah, people in Hebron do not have to imagine. Crazy. Yeah, I'd be looking back at it too if I was a woman with my baby in her arms. So there it is, the smart shooter. And I really have no idea how much more of this has been deployed that's in certain areas. Globally. Forget about just Israel and the border, right? Many people have already been killed there. The checkpoint gets used by over 200 Palestinians daily. I mean, it's not the world I want to live in, folks. Okay? So, as we continue to talk about robotic guns in that form of automated weapons, we're going to show you right now what they're utilizing in Ukraine. And right here, you can see that that's a turret. It's the dev droid. This was posted on Telegram. And there you can see the AI enemy systems. But you saw for a second. Hold on, let me just stop it right there. Let's go back for a second. Now, you notice it's choosing what's good and what's bad. Okay? So there's the soldier, and then there's the red. We want to keep the soldier alive. But, oh, look at that. See that? Boom, soldier, boom. And now, once again, it changes. But it blinks in and out. The artificial intelligence is far from perfect. I just want to point that out. Now, they'll let you know here that, again, when this was out there in the very beginning, a human being decides at the end. But you're going to find out right now through Starlink.
3, 2,
okay.
1, 0. Ignition and liftoff.
Let's do it right there.
On July 22nd, SpaceX conducted the Falcon 9 rocket launch. Its task is to deploy another 53 Starlink Internet mini-satellites into orbit. In Ukraine, the stations have been operating and providing satellite communications for 5 months already.
Безлімітний інтернет, безкоштовний.
Unlimited internet, free. Elon Musk's SpaceX, it looks like this. We pointed at the satellite.
So let's just pause that. Again, this is in the very beginning of the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Remember, Musk was goading Putin in the beginning before everybody turned to peacenik. And look, I'm all about peace. These weapon systems could be disabled at any time. These communication systems could be cut off at any time. And they're choosing not to do it. What does that tell you?
Satellite looks for us. Voila! And that's it. And the connection to Starlink starts.
The Ukrainian soldier captured this video at one of the positions of the armed forces of Ukraine in early March. The first Starlink terminals were activated in Ukraine on February 26th, 2 days after Russia began its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Ukraine received them for free. Elon Musk responded to a tweet posted by the Minister of Digital Transformation of Ukraine, Mikhailo Fedorov, asking to provide Starlink to Ukraine urgently.
They help us in our everyday fight on all fronts. We are ready, even if there is no light, no fixed internet, through generators using Starlink to renew any connection in Ukraine. Mikhail Fedorov, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Digital Transformation of Ukraine, in an interview with Politico.
Now there are about 14,000 Starlink terminals activated all over Ukraine. These figures were given by Todd Humphreys, a professor at the University of Texas who has studied the work of the satellite system in consultations with SpaceX staff.
It's a crystal clear example that secure backup communications is going to be the lifeline of any modern military engagement. The nimbleness with which Starlink was set up in Ukraine was just astounding. Todd Humphreys, professor at the University.
I mean, it wasn't astounding. This thing has been run by the U.S. military from the beginning. Yes, NATO's a big part of it. We're the big dogs. I mean, the New York Times came out and admitted they were running the war from European bases. From the beginning, you had U.S. personnel on the ground, full stop. You had the mercenary groups, sure. But special forces were there. I mean, special forces were in Israel on October 7th. They were already conducting exercises there the day of the attacks, and then they sent more U.S. special forces. It's like we're everywhere.
University of Texas, in an interview with Politico.
Starlink stations allow communication in combat conditions. The Ukrainian soldiers use them to adjust artillery strikes, control drones, and plan their actions.
We wired 220 volts here, and then we have a Starlink, thanks to volunteers and personally to Elon Musk, and we can destroy the enemy even on live streaming, and in fact it's a very convenient thing. A tablet at hand, a map of combat operations, and an online exchange with the command center.
If the Russian army is jamming communications in the area of hostilities and because of this mobile communications do not work, satellite internet allows the Ukrainian military to communicate with their relatives.
So, well, we see such positions here, we've made comforts ourselves. Oh, that's a Starlink dish. Well, let's see what the guys are doing now. Maybe resting, maybe... Guys, what's up? Buddy, don't disturb me, I'm talking to my relatives.
The Russian army...
I mean, that was 3 years ago. 3+ years ago, you're seeing all that stuff. More than likely, everybody you just saw in that little bunker, dead. Dead. Guy was talking to his family for one of the last times.
During its unsuccessful operations, has also announced a hunt for Starlink, located on the Ukrainian positions, military says. It is as important for Russians as destroying a howitzer or a multiple-launch rocket system.
Victory in modern warfare will go to whoever has the best technology and is better able to use it, because the Russians have a lot of equipment, but it's old, it's inaccurate, it breaks down all the time. They lose it, abandon it, and so on. And modern weapons need technology. Starlink is...
You know, remember that talking point? Oh, they're using rotten weapons. Now a lot of the stuff is older, okay? And they're unloading that. But, you know, let's move on. This is Russia using one of their AI-powered drones in this conflict.
According to Russian media, on October 21st, Russian forces started deploying the brand new Izdalai-53 kamikaze drone. It is said that the Izdalai-53 drone has an autonomous guiding system that enables it to recognize different kinds of targets. As implied, this capability is meant to improve accuracy and maybe increase the success rates of hitting targets. Under the guidance of an operator, a lancet munition is launched while being observed from above by a reconnaissance drone. The target remains inside the square crosshair until the words target locked show up. Up until the blow, the square remains trapped on the target. While reports suggest that the Izdalai 53 drones are currently undergoing an intensive testing phase to assess their potential for wider application, the drones have not yet been widely deployed inside Russian troops. The investigation of mass-coordinated swarm attacks is particularly intriguing as it raises the possibility of a tactical change in military operations. The Izdalai 53 drone's payload, which is said to weigh between 3 and 5 kilograms, might not be enough to seriously harm the majority of important military targets, though. Although it is unlikely to be true, the author asserts that this had to have been the Izdalai 53 from Zala, a member of the Kalashnikov group. Just to refresh your memory, the new kind of drone was unveiled in July 2023. The gadget that was seen in the movie had folding wings and could be fired directly out of the container. The specs stated that it could automatically seek and identify targets. Due to inferior aerodynamics, these drones' combat range and warhead size are typically shorter than those of traditional fixed-wing aircraft.
But still pretty lethal on the combat field, and getting bigger and getting better, and that, again, is in 2022. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get to Peter Thiel of Palantir. Again, Bilderberg steering member, guy who pushed Facebook into the mainstream, Mr. PayPal, libertarian hero, former Trump technology advisor, employer of J.D. Vance, current vice president. Pretty important guy. Watch what happens when he gets asked about lavender and his absurd response. I've never seen Thiel be this uncomfortable, but you be the judge.
So what do you think about the use of artificial intelligence or lavender by the IDF in identifying Hamas targets? And secondly, do you agree with Elon Musk about that the population decline is a risk for humanity?
Now, I want to just stop it here quick. You notice there was no malice in what she said. It wasn't like a gotcha moment. She even threw in the Musker nuts and the population decline, etc. Thiel just not ready for this question.
Look, I'm not,
Well, I mean, look at his body. You don't have to be a body language expert. Okay, let's bring it back. I mean, awkward movements, awkward sounds. Here we go.
The population decline is a risk for humanity.
Look, I'm not, without going into all the
without going into all the I mean, train wreck time. Yeah, of course you're not going to go into all the details. You're a big part of it.
I'm not on top of all the details of what's going on in Israel because my bias is to defer to Israel. It's not for us to second guess everything. And
first of all, this idea of second guessing everything, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about being allied with a country in the Middle East that could pop off World War III at any moment, and by any sense of the word, has committed human atrocity after human atrocity there. So yeah, his bias is to defer to them. And again, I don't hate Israel. I'm not one of those guys that thinks Israel's behind everything. It's a complex political situation. Certainly don't like Netanyahu and that administration. Certainly don't like what he did to his own people during the COVID 1984 nightmare. Certainly didn't like him bragging about the idea of having a DNA database of 98% of the population plus. Yeah, I mean, he talked about how they had all their medical records for decades and how, most people would just volunteer their DNA. So, no, I don't like that. I am going to question that. I'm not going to defer to them for that. I wouldn't defer to my country for doing those things. Instead, I would speak out. I'd more than second guess it, Peter.
And I believe that broadly the IDF gets to decide what it wants to do, and that they're broadly in the right. And that's sort of the perspective I come back to. And if I
say broadly enough, and I say I believe that they're right, I don't really have to make any kind of commentary on the artificially intelligence-driven death machine and target list that is a part of the Palantir apparatus.
I fall into the trap of arguing you on every detailed point. I would actually be conceding the broader issue that the Middle East should be micromanaged from Cambridge.
Totally not true. You're not conceding that Cambridge and, European elites get to decide what happens in the Middle East at all. We're in the Middle East. The United States is in the Middle East. Still in Afghanistan, even though, again, most of us are gone. First of all, the privatized military groups in the Middle East are tremendous. Iraq, not going anywhere after the war of terror. So to me, Peter, you've kind of already conceded that point because you're part of that military-industrial complex apparatus. He doesn't even talk around this point well.
And I think that's just simply absurd. And so I'm not going to concede that point.
I'm not going to concede that point. It's absurd.
And what was the other?
He didn't even remember the Muskernuts population decline comment. He was so flustered by that. I mean, if I was doing a call-in show, we could do an hour on that. Just people calling in and giving their take on Peter Thiel and that response to that question. Because he didn't once, not once right there, did he reflect on the power of artificial intelligence, its use in warfare, the moral conundrum. Forget about Middle Eastern policy. My goodness. All right. So now, his acolyte, if you will, Alex Karp, was recently in the Middle East talking about AI and weapon systems and its future. And we're going to break it down right now. So listen, let's get the thumbs up. Let's get to subscribing, sharing. Again, I want to show this to people. Maybe you saw it yesterday. I'm sorry. We did fall below. We don't gain followers. We lost about 6 or 7 yesterday. We again, for the amount of content and stuff we put out on X, it should show you how rigged the algorithm is. With my reach per following, it's a joke. So again, we're down again. There's no growth on mainstream social media. This is why, and there's no paychecks coming from any companies. So this is why we need your help on the Buy Me a Coffee as well. All right, let's get into it. Let's carp it up.
Alex, I've heard you say before that the countries utilizing AI the best right now, its fullest potential, are the U.S. and in the Middle East. So I wondered if you could expand on that and relate it to what we're seeing here in the kingdom.
Well, I'm delighted to be here. I've been coming here for a long time, and it's a country of very warm, decent, highly competent people, and it's on fire. And, when I got here this time, I sat down with, we hired basically our 22-year-old engineers. They look like 16, and I asked them, well, what's going on here? And they were like, our counterparties are very strong, and they're very patriotic, which we like. It's very hard to organize things in cultures with no end goal.
And, I do want to point out what he just said. His engineers are like 22. And how old do you think the engineers in the Middle East that they're working with? Because, again, this is globalism right here. Thiel says we shouldn't micromanage Middle Eastern policy. He's doing it. That's what this is. Okay, so much bull snap in what he just said. Now, the other thing is, we're constantly hearing about the incompetence of youth. we're still picking the best and the brightest when it comes to corporations, security. You know, that whole DEI initiative only went so far. I promise you that. They may dumb down a lot of us, but there's still a lot of us. And you know, I remember those criticisms of quote-unquote Doge, that these were like kids. No, I want motivated quote-unquote kids. In other words, young people, that their whole deal was down this track, all right, of, you know, academia. But, I mean, there's an idealism when you're young. And when you achieve that upper echelon of academia, well, it's a whole nother ballgame. Let's continue.
And so what you're seeing on the ground, if you're looking at actual value creation in the physical world that can be quantified, i.e. AI that's not a joke, you're seeing a receptivity in this region, especially in the kingdom, but the receptivity is on the back of people who have a deep tradition in engineering excellence and, quite frankly, believe in their own future. And so obviously the great contradistinction here is Europe, where you know, it's like people have given up. And I really hope that turns around in Europe. But for now, what you're seeing is, and an openness to new ways of doing things, meritocracy. You know, this people underestimate, if you want to do engineering meritocracy, you're much better off here than almost any place in the world.
And he's not wrong there. You know, in the Middle East and these other places, when you have true meritocracies based on these technologies, you have progress. Now, of course, Saudi Arabia and their alliance with the United States, you know, this was just on, I believe, the 13th of May. So what is this? This is like 2 weeks ago? Right? And this is right around that same time Trump's down there talking about weapon systems, talking about alliances.
And that ethos and that competence is going to lead to a massive outperformance. And in part because people don't have it, really underestimate what's going to happen here. And so I mean, I'm very enthusiastic, and I also kind of like the people here, so that helps.
It's a cultural fit for you. I like the jab at Europe as well. Rajit, how are you building the infrastructure in the country to do this?
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Look, at Data Vault, what we are doing as a Saudi company is primarily leveraging of what the kingdom has to offer in terms of building this critical infrastructure at scale, at pace, and at the lowest cost of compute. What we need to recognize that the whole AI boom will lead to the convergence of the price of energy with the price of compute.
So what he's talking about here, and think about this, Saudi Arabia, I mean, just an incredibly wealthy country globally. Forget about just the Middle East. And obviously a lot of that has to do with their oil. And constantly, I talk about the fact that this artificial intelligence, okay, it's going to command such masses of power. I don't understand how people are already being sold on this idea of your carbon footprint. Your carbon footprint is going to be nothing compared to the power it's going to take for these AI data centers. Just point that out.
And the beauty of the kingdom is it has already established itself as the green capital of the world. And energy is produced at the lowest cost, especially renewable energy. And at Oxagon in NEOM, what we are doing is we are building the world's largest AI factory, a 1.5 gigawatt factory, AI factory, the first phase of which is commencing construction in a couple of months from now, $5 billion.
And remember, in the United States, Meta, aka Facebook, aka what Field drove, into the mainstream, they're trying to build their AI data center in Kentucky. It's massive, massive.
And we basically are positioning the kingdom going forward to become the inference capital of the world. And the speed and the pace and the political will, all of them converge to make this reality happen. So I think the socio-economic transformation that the kingdom has been seeing for the last 9 years is now translating into what I call the digital transformation, making it the digital hub of the world in years to come. Thank you.
Marcelo, you also have deep roots here, back to SoftBank days, and now you're on the investing side. Well, you've always been on the investing side of it, but how do you evaluate some of these partnerships and opportunities when you're looking at a market like Saudi Arabia?
So I come from the other side, not from the technology side, and what we've been focused is how can we grab incumbent and actually apply AI to generate most of the value. And the way we look at the world is quite simple, right? We think AI is by far the largest opportunity to create value in our history. Thank God there's so many companies who are investing hundreds of billions of dollars, what I like to say, create the AI factory.
You know, once again, when we're talking about this quote-unquote creation of this stuff, and we talk about the competition, I'm highly skeptical. I am highly skeptical because you look at the Chief Artificial Intelligence Officer program here in the United States, and clearly it's going to be intelligence-driven, Defense Department driven and controlled. And you can only imagine that you're going to get the same thing in other nation states, especially outright oligarchies. I mean, this is an oligarchy. Not that we're much better, but an outright oligarchy in Saudi Arabia. The kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The crown prince of Saudi Arabia. I'm sorry. I just don't get down with rule by bloodline. 2025. And we got rule by bloodline in politically significant and economic powerhouse arenas. Crazy.
And then it's up to us to grab that and apply it to real-life companies. And one of the use cases that I'm focused on is, as you know, I'm the largest independent shareholder of T-Mobile, and we've been able to, I would say, pretty much start transforming the company, and we're publicly said that we will increase profitability by $10 billion from 2023 to 2027. And the magnitude of this is it took us over 120 years of the United companies to make $30 billion. And in 3 years, we should be able to grow that by basically eliminating all customer service, eliminating most of our stores, building our network differently with some partnerships we have in NVIDIA and a lot deep partnership with OpenAI.
I just want to point out, he just said, eliminating customer service. So we're going to see that process, I think, rapidly take place, that you're no longer, forget about a person in this country. You're going to be talking to different chatbot models. You notice he also just talked about a partnership with NVIDIA, where, you know, the vast majority of this technology is based on their chipsets, or at least running on. I shouldn't say the technology itself, but they have the most powerful processors right now commercially for this stuff. The quantum arena, probably going to change that.
Now, what do I like about this is now we build a center of excellence that's capable of replicating that in other companies, and we're in advanced discussions of a lot of the large enterprises in the kingdom of how can we help them become more efficient.
In the few minutes that we have left, I want to do a lightning round because we have such good leaders here on technology. So if you could do a brief, what excites you the most about AI right now? A use case, something you're seeing technologically. Ruth, go for it.
I would say AlphaFold. My colleagues Demis Hassabis and John Jumper won the Nobel Prize for this in the fall. It is predicting protein structure for all known proteins on the planet. Single biggest contribution to drug discoveries, the way it's described. And since I was here for FII in the fall, Demis has already come out and said we expect we'll see an AI drug in front of the FDA in the near term. So the pace of change is extraordinary. What it means for all of us is extraordinary. And I think it's also a model for how audaciously we should all think about the opportunity with AI.
So this right now is the chief investment officer of Alphabet, aka Google, the parent company. And I mean, we're in it. We're in this new bio, nano techno era, okay, where they're going to be pushing AI-driven medicine. And that's extremely scary as well. Seeing what they've given us for medicine. Seeing the narratives that AI is producing. It's not producing truth. You know, I just want to show something to people. We're going to do it live, okay? Like we often do. So earlier today, maybe it's even still in there. I guess it's not. But earlier today, we ended up having to go to DuckDuckGo. And DuckDuckGo didn't help. But we'll actually go to DuckDuckGo for this search, just to show. I just want to say that I am not saying that Macron's wife is a man. But my buddy was asking me about it today. And wife, a man. Okay? And I typed it in. All right? And I want just images. And it's supposed to be this is DuckDuckGo. Forget about Google. We'll try Google in a moment, right? But there's literally no pictures of the evidence that people have presented. I think you're getting down right here, supposedly. Like right there, that's supposedly, again, I'm not here to convey this theory, in the least. I just want to put that out there. I'm just saying that none of this stuff, and this is supposed to be, DuckDuckGo is supposed to be freedom. We showed you the Kevin Spacey stuff is there. But if I go to X, all right, and by the way, I think there's huge problems with X. But if I type, there it is right there, Macron's wife, a man. Okay, first thing. And look, I'm not trying to make this video anywhere near about that, but I'm just trying to show you that our search engines don't give us what we want, or show us at least the material, and then have a conversation about it. They're narrative management monsters. Let's continue. And this isn't even the quote-unquote weapon systems that we discussed in the first half.
Majid?
I would say the geoeconomics of what the kingdom has to offer to the entire technology super cycle that we are about to embrace. This is the biggest opportunity. This is the biggest point of excitement.
Arvind?
AI applied to programming. You're going to find programmers are going to become twice as productive, which means there will be more of them, not fewer of them.
Said from a programmer himself.
Yes.
Alex?
It's a very unfair revolution, and there are going to be massive winners, and making sure the winners are the good people and the losers aren't.
That's what excites you.
No.
Who are the good people, Alex? Who are the good people? I mean, this is just the wildest thing. When you talk about who, say, the World Economic Forum says the good people are, China is the model. Command and control is the model. The good people. Remember the Good Guys Club? Let's see if we can pull that right up. They're here to save the world. Let's see if that's censored. We're doing it live. That's right.
We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Let's see. Not seeing the actual Good Guys Club. So now let's add it. Let's get Good Guys Club, Gates, Oprah. They're called the Good Club. There they are. And they want to save the world. Tech billionaires hold secret meetings. The Good Club. And Warren Buffett. Right? And what were they talking about? Population control. Let's just type in population. See if that one comes up. Because there's an actual headline. Oh, there it is right there. There's the Times. In a bid to curb the Good Club. You could really curb some overpopulation. I don't know. With some automated death machines.
Marcelo?
To me, healthcare, I look at AI as the great equalizer. In the US, we have a company called K-Health that serves as a primary care physician, basically diagnosing and prescribing patients. So my big dream is imagine grabbing that app and send it to emerging countries so everybody can have the same quality of health that we have in countries like the US all over the world through an app And because today, when you go to a lot of our countries, people go to a pharmacy, and the pharmacist is like the doctor trying to prescribe. And I think this would change the way healthcare is delivered in emerging markets. And to me, it's the great equalizer.
You know, I don't want AI as my doctor. I don't want AI as my therapist. I don't want to feed AI all my information. I uninstalled Copilot on Windows 11. I'm glad that that's a feature. Good. I don't want AI-driven Johnny nonsense, you know, screen capturing my stuff all the time. No, thank you. No bueno.
Cristiano?
So I won't pick a particular industry, but one thing that we're incredibly excited about AI. When we think about personal computing, every generation of change in the human-computer interaction drove a phenomenal change, from the initial keyboard to mouse to touch. One thing that AI is doing right now, as computers now understand human language, it's fundamentally changed how we interact with any computer. And I think we're very excited about that change that is coming.
And what he's really talking about right there, unfortunately, is how they're trying to move you into this arena where you think that computers or AI is some kind of conscious entity, and into the digital twins verse and AI-driven robotics, right? And ultimately, transhumanism. No thank you very much. Let me say it again. No thank you very much. One more time, folks. Let's get the thumbs up. Subscribe, share, give me a comment down below. Let's open the conversation up. That absolutely helps me. Check out all my documentary films for free. Loose Change Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture. Please share them along with my other work. And if you can, once again, cannot do it without your $5, $10, $15. It means the world to me. I'm about to hit the road for New York, so all of your support and help really does help on even road trips like that one. Buy me a coffee, PayPal, give me a follow on X, and as always, folks, you know the drill. It is not about left or right. It is always about right and wrong. Absolutely love you guys, and we will see you all on the flip side.